right. Exactly. Hey, it's time to clock in, everybody. What's shaking? Welcome to another episode of the DisJointed Food Biz. I'm Dave Germain.
Thor Markey, as always.
Hey, man. I'm glad this is the podcast about the restaurant industry in all shapes, forms, and sizes, from the front of house to the back of house to the managers and to the regional, which I think we could all agree sucks. All right. Now,
Or owners.
owners, that could have that too. I had to take those things off. We already know that we could hear each other. And interesting thing this week, as just to give you guys a little insight to my personal life here, is that I was trying to get a job to a different job in the company that I currently work with, and it turns out it's not going to go that way. But it really got me taking a look at a lot of the pages and a lot of the opinions and stuff from on Facebook when it comes to restaurant owners and bar owners and stuff like that. There's a lot of good suggestions and stuff, but holy shit, is there some people that should not run a business?
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, it's there was one thing that I said towards the end of it, and I knew about halfway through that this wasn't going to work, and that's fine. It's their business, and you know what? I could be wrong. I don't think I am, but I totally could be wrong.
Could be wrong.
Definitely not
Absolutely.
wrong. But yeah, but I go, there was a story that I had when I was thinking about trading in at the time it was this 2005 Toyota Corolla, and I was working for U-Haul, and U-Haul gets discounts at dealerships and stuff, like pretty hefty discounts. So I was looking at the Chevy Cruze, and I'm like, I was reading some reviews on it and stuff. It wasn't that bad. It's a new car and stuff. I'm like, oh man, I like it. So I call up the dealership, and I'm like, hey, how's it going? I just wanted to ask you some questions about the discount on the Chevy Cruze. Like, yeah. Well, we actually have other discounts that are better than that. I'm like, okay.
Nice.
All right, well, that's cool. But, well, listen, I'm thinking about, like, maybe trading in my vehicle. I got a 2005 Corolla. What do you think, just off the top of your head, that might be? Now, what I'm doing here is that I know that he doesn't have an answer for that. What I'm trying to see is how good or how shitty of a sales, how much they really want this money or they want this sale. Because if they don't want the sale, I'm not going to get a good deal. If they want the sale, then I might be able to get a better deal, might be able to negotiate something. I have a little bit of footing. Even if they don't want the sale, they need to freaking, like, at least dope me into getting in there. So
act interested anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So the what the fella says is like, I don't know, maybe 200, baby. I don't really know. I'm like, all right. Boom, and I hung up on him. He calls me back. He's like, yeah, you hung up on me? And, like, that's not my department. I don't know what. I'm like, all right, great. Click. His manager calls back then. And he's like, well, he doesn't really know. I'm like, listen, I gave you a buying question. A buying question. Do you know what that is? And he's like, yes. Okay, and when you freaking let a buying question go past you, do you deserve that sale? No. All right, thanks for your time. Don't call me again. Right? Now, I shared this story with the person I was talking to yesterday, and I did get about as animated as I did just now. And I could sense the discomfort.
Some people don't know how to take animation.
Yeah,
sure.
Exactly. And I'm fairly animated, and I'm like, listen, I can't stand it when I let an opportunity go by for myself.
Right.
But I absolutely detest it in somebody else who refuses to take that same opportunity.
Sure.
Right? Which was basically my way of saying is like, if you don't bother talking to me again if you're not going to do this.
Right.
I'm offering you to make you money. You're telling me no. All right? When you need to make money. So, all right. But you said something that was really kind about this, because I was a little worked up out of it yesterday, guys. And Thor said something really nice. He's like, you took a chance. You stepped out of your comfort zone. And you did everything that you could. And what's done is done. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. Absolutely right. And but that brings us to kind of our conversation, I think, or one of the topics that we have for today.
Oh.
Is failing. Like how to fail. I think there's a lot of times that people, I think, in our lives, it took me a long time to learn how to fail. It's not like I never failed at shit before, but I didn't know how to accept it. I didn't know how to learn from it. I didn't know how to adjust and move forward with it. One of the things that really, really helped me a lot was stand-up comedy.
Right. Right.
Because you can't get better until you fail, really. You know, the famous story of the Chris Rock, the first time he started doing stand-up, he was instantly crushing, right? And he was getting paid spots like a month into doing stand-up at one of the bigger clubs in New York City, and he was doing great until 4 months in. He invites his family to go see to watch him crush, and he bombs horribly.
Okay.
And then he says, "I continued to bomb every night since that for 4 years after that."
Oof.
So, which I'm sure he had good sets back and forth there, but nothing about that, nothing close to that initial
Sure.
rush. But he's just saying is like, no, I had to fail, I had to learn from that, because you, and I know that you're not in the comedy world, but
I'm not.
but you've worked
I'm a
around
funny
it.
guy, but I'm not in the comedy world.
But you also worked around it too, and you've
Sure.
seen those comics that just get used to failing, and they're like, all right, I'm just going to go up there and tank shit better than anybody else can.
Well, and you know, oh man, human nature. But you know, you said you know you're learning from your failure.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about it, dude, everything we've done from birth is failure.
Yeah.
So
Nobody knew how to wipe their ass.
Why does it take 20 years to figure out? Oh, I can learn from this.
Right.
I mean, even walking, eating, whatever, shit comes out of the side of the mouth. You fall on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, you figure out how to walk by those failures.
Mm-hmm.
So why can't we figure out failure's good? I mean, the more you fail, the more you're going to succeed. The more you jump outside that box, outside your comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, whatchamacallit, recently, Will Smith's been doing a lot of videos. I don't know if you've seen any of them.
I've not seen any of them.
He's been doing a lot of failure and whatever else. But he's absolutely correct, you know. Joe Rogan says it constantly in his podcast. If I didn't fail, I wouldn't be where I'm at. I mean, it's just, it's human nature, man. It is our lives from beginning to end.
Yeah. And what's so amazing about this is that, like, if I fail, like, just in my sets or something like that, I mean, obviously I'm letting down that crowd. You know, I'm letting myself down, let a lot of people down, which is the reason why I do my best not to when I go up. But there's nobody, with the exception, I mean, like, I have other ways to make money, and thank God it's not just comedy right now. Otherwise, I would be divorced already. As supportive as she is, you can only have somebody go hungry for dinner so many times before they leave you. I hate to tell you this, guys. Love ain't that strong. But there's not. I don't have associates underneath me that are depending on me, right, to succeed. So in that respect, I mean, the circle of the effect of what I fail at and stuff, it's for that show and whatnot. But when I was managing, and we were talking about this before we hit record, is that when I was managing, that I took it upon myself, and I mentioned this before, is that if our associates could not get their bills paid, if they couldn't pay their rent, not because if they had a gambling addiction or something like that, that's something that's on them, but if there was not enough money coming through the restaurant where they couldn't make the hours because they had to keep cutting labor, or they couldn't make the money in tips, I took that as a personal failure on my part. So I did whatever I could. And any manager that I worked for, I didn't come up with this. I learned this from other managers. The ones that I worked the hardest for were the ones who took on the most responsibility and cared about their staff the most, right? Now, it wasn't their best friends, wasn't the nicest to them, but they took on the responsibility. And what I'm wondering is if I think that's missing in a lot of the posts that I see on Facebook. I see that in a lot of the way the private owners are running their restaurants.
Sure.
Not all of them. If somebody like, hey, fuck you, I don't do it. I'm like, maybe. I don't know.
Well, because, you know, even you know, the chef side of things or whatever else, everybody's replaceable.
Yeah.
You know, if you're pulling in money, you got so many people coming in the door. So fuck it. If you're not going to do your job, have a nice day. It's not necessarily now. If you do your job and you work hard, majority of the time, manager, chef, owner, whatever, will see what you're doing,
right?
You know, and start to care about you and maybe train or talk or critique or whatever else. Because otherwise, if you don't do that, you're never going to grow as a person. You're never going to grow as a business.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, a lot of us can't take critiquing that well.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the same token, you know, with managers caring about their staff, look, majority of time, corporations, you can't care about your staff.
Right.
You have to care about the numbers, whatever else. People turn over. It's just the nature of the business. But there's a reason, like especially with old school, chef walks out, the whole brigade goes with him.
Yeah.
You know, because they respect, like, whatever else. He'll tell you the truth. He won't bullshit you. Tell you hurry up, get your ass in gear, whatever the case may be. And there are managers out there. You know, I think every job that I've ever left, you know, people are like, hey, let me know where you land. I'm coming to work for you.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, you care enough about the people, whatever else. You can't always care enough. And I know this sounds fucked up, whatever else, but I mean, you can't always care enough about somebody's business if they're not willing to do what's needed.
Yeah.
You know?
As a matter of fact, I think that's a good sign. That actually goes for anything, any type of relationship in life, guys. If you care way more about what's going on than the other person, let's say, like, if you have like a boyfriend or a girlfriend, if you're way more into that than they are, then chances are that's not going to work out very well. Same thing when it comes to, I think, a business. If you're way more into trying to make that business succeed, that what it appears to be from, like, if you don't see that kind of enthusiasm or effort coming from, whether it's not just the owner, but even from your manager and stuff like that, chances are that it's not probably going to work out very well.
No.
So it's one of those things where you got to find the right place. And I understand that there's some folks, like, if you live in a small town and there's only like 10 restaurants, you know, that's going to be very, very difficult for you to try to find that. And maybe you got to make your own restaurant. Maybe you got to move. Maybe you got to do something different. I don't know, but it's...
Or stick to what you're doing. Well, and some of that, you know, for the owners that are out there, you know, just because you own a business doesn't mean it stops at the business. You have to manage your managers just like they manage your staff.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And
you can't let human beings go do whatever they want. Oh, we'll fuck it up. Look at, I don't know, everything that we've done so far.
Or fuck everything that walks.
Yeah, pretty much, man. They're like, look, we've developed this technology so that way we can transport pictures. I got an idea. What? I'm going to take a picture of my dick first.
They never put them in the walk-ins.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
But, I mean, you know, it doesn't matter, and leadership is leadership. You're either leading or you're following, and there's so many business people out there, and we've seen it on the Facebook page in the job I currently hold now, you know, where they're not leading, they're not even following. You know, they're doing the bare minimum. And let's face it, in this industry, man, the bare minimum doesn't get you shit. You know, you have to push and exceed and try new things constantly. You know, there's a reason why, and a lot of places have fucked this up, but there's a reason why there's a specials board.
Yeah.
To try new items, see what your guests like, bring them back, change up the menu. You know, you don't keep the shit the same for 15 years and go, oh, well, my food is my service. No, you fucking prick.
Hey, listen, even the most corporate of the most corporate restaurants like Chili's or Applebee's, they put new items every 3 months. There's a seasonal menu, right?
Seasonal menu every quarter. There's something different, you know.
Macaroni Grill used to have a couple dishes that they would only serve in the springtime, and then they started doing it year-round.
Oh, yeah.
And then I don't know if that was a good or a bad thing. I think it was kind of it was the butternut squash or the butternut squash tortellini.
Well, I mean, a lot of places do it. Village Inn has certain pies, certain quarters. Right. You know, Longhorn Steakhouse does certain, you know, lobster tails during certain times of year.
We're almost forgetting the most important of this is the McRib. That alone is the reason why terrorists hate us, by the way, guys, because Americans lose their shit when the McRib comes out. It's like they think it's a second coming of Christ,
dude.
But with the McRib.
When I was younger, when I was younger, I would agree. But recently, you know, I don't do the fast food thing often.
Yeah.
Last week I did the fast food thing, and oof,
oh yeah, you were sick for a while.
It tore me up. I will never do fast food again. Not only that, the guy with the molten freaking copper pouring on the Big Mac and the damn thing doesn't burn. Look, he opens it up. And the lettuce doesn't even char. I'm not eating that shit no more.
Yeah, you got the McShits. you had a Whopper of a time.
Yeah, I did it. I had a Whopper. And I love a juicy Whopper running down the arm, you know. Although you're supposed to put your elbows up, but whatever. Love a good Whopper every now and then. You're like, you know, but, oh, man, that thing tore me up. I give up on fast food. I'm done. I don't know what kind of steroids they're putting in these things.
What about Good Times, though?
I've never eaten there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's not bad. I think it's pretty good. It's a Colorado-based fast food place.
I mean, do you get a happy ending after the good time?
Depending on which one you go to.
Really?
Yeah,
All
there was
right.
this. All right, this is completely off the subject, but fuck it. I went to, because they're all drive-thrus for the most part, right? So there's one that's not too far from here, and there was this geeky, chubby girl that was working the window, right, which is normally what I would call Dave Candy, and
Nice.
and I'm just placing my order, and she's giving me that, hey, how's it going? Yeah, all right. And she's kind of flirting with me just a little bit, and I'm like, I'm just here for a burger. Thank you very much.
Cover myself up.
And I'm like, I don't know what they put in the burgers, but I went back a second time.
I bet you did.
But yeah, no, it's kind of weird. Like if In-N-Out Burger is going to be coming to Colorado Springs, which
Love In-N-Out Burger.
we should take a trip down there. We'll do a video for it. I think that would be
down.
great because I'm sure Sam will be down for it. I know Jenny will.
Oh.
So yeah, we'll do that. We'll just talk about oh, dude, that's freaking great. Yes, that's exactly what we do when they do
we
the.
just said we'd do it.
Yeah, I know, but I'm thinking now I really want to do it. I was just saying that shit before. That was past Dave. This is present Dave.
Love me some In-N-Out.
Yeah.
Video, sure, not a problem.
Yeah, but no, I mean, just even showing the lines and stuff and the way they do the business and all that other cool stuff.
We might get sued for that, but fuck it.
Nah, well, we'll just do it on the corner. You know what? We'll just be like, hey, listen, we're 4 miles away from the In-N-Out, and we're at the back of the line. Look. And I know all the folks from Colorado are going to say, like, it's just a burger. It's not that special. Good times is better. Fuck off. Listen.
Yeah.
Some of us, we know what a burger's all about. And it's
I've waited 2 hours for In-N-Out, and that was in California, but it was worth it.
It was worth it just to see what how a business can run. Because they basically ignore every rule that every other fast food place does for the most part.
I think they ignore a lot of rules. You know, they as far as company, I don't know how it's going to work with them expanding, because for years the CEO or the grandpa whatever wouldn't let them grow.
Yeah,
kept the stores where they were. You know, mostly in California, whatever else. I don't know. They had 6 or 8. I can't remember. But for years, with that little amount of stores, they were still known nationwide.
Yeah.
They took care of their people. I mean, come on. GMs make, what did we see that video?
Was it
160?
Yeah.
160 a year, and that's not even the high end for their GMs.
Yeah.
They pay their cooks well, fresh products, easy fucking menu. I mean, you cut the french fry or you cut the potato and you fry it.
They usually have, they're rarely ever do you see less than 7 people working back there.
And that's why, you know, and we all know, you fry a real potato, a couple minutes later it's cold, it's nasty, it's starchy.
Yep.
But you get it why it's hot and banging.
Yeah, so they kept the level of quality. I think now what they did is when they had to find like the right source of meat so they could still keep it local.
Sure.
You know, so I'm surprised that it took this long to get to Colorado because like getting, you know.
Well, I mean, they dropped down in Arizona, Texas, Utah, testing out different markets, whatever else. I mean, as long as they keep to their basics, the what the company was built on, if they can keep that quality and happiness with their employees, dude, they'll continue to grow. They'll put McDonald's to shame in about 20 years.
I think my prediction is inside of 3. I'm going to say 3 years. There's going to be 7 units in Denver, plus and 2 in Colorado Springs.
Well, I think the game plan was to build a distribution center in Colorado Springs, and I think it was 3 locations in Denver. One in like Fort Collins or Westminster, whatever else. 1 or 2 down south. I think it was 1 in Colorado Springs and another one in Pueblo.
Right. I'm thinking they're going to expand more in Denver though, just because there's going to because at first initially only people from California, Arizona, and anywhere outside of Colorado who grew up with In-N-Out, they're going to crash that place and be like, oh, it's going to be awesome. Most folks from Colorado, like they did in Arizona, are going to resist it. And say, whatever, it sucks, whatever, California. And then once they finally get into it, even the first time they bite into it, they're like, whatever, it's just a burger. But then the next thing they know, they think they're supposed to be going to church, but they're in the drive-thru of In-N-Out Burger and renouncing Christ. So that's what happens to everybody.
Milkshake fries and a double patty.
It's okay because there's scriptures. They sneak in Jesus in In-N-Out Burger, so you'll be
going
okay.
to hell. You're saying all this on Ash Wednesday, man.
Oh, it's a good thing I'm not Catholic. Wait, is that a bad thing? What was it?
Jesus.
I
knew I was in line, but he's got me beat.
No,
but they opened up in Texas, as part of their expansion, whatever else, and they did great for first couple months, and then, they kind of died a little bit, because they had some things change, whatever else. Who knows? Corporate came back down, fixed it all. Might have been franchisee, it might have been corporate. I don't know.
Right.
I think they're trying to keep them all corporate.
I would think so because the moment, that one company we were talking about before, that when they franchised way too much, they didn't keep up on the quality of the product.
Couldn't keep the brand.
And basically the brand it suffered, and a bunch of stores kept closing.
But I mean, now they're back on track. These guys, it's an hour wait for fucking lunch if you're in the drive-through, 30 minutes inside. I mean, they're crazy busy, and it's kind of weird, and I kind of foresee a fast food wars coming soon. And what I mean by that, because they're beginning to get healthier options out there.
Right.
Honestly, for me, In-N-Out compared to McDonald's and whatever else,
there's no question,
is the healthiest fucking option. It shit's real. It's not fucking put together, scraped off the floor, whatever else. But I mean, you got, what is it? The CEO for Taco Bell switched over to Chipotle. Burger King's dying out. KFC. All these fast food places. Eventually we're gonna figure out the obesity issue that's killing us.
Yeah.
And we're gonna start driving and drilling for better products. Whether the government or these companies figure it out sooner rather than later, I don't know. But eventually, dude, it's all going to come to a head because, I mean, for the convenience, yeah, everybody loves McDonald's.
Yeah.
But for the quality, I don't know how many people were like, oh, I go to McDonald's because it's quick and easy, but the food shit.
Yeah, well, that's exactly the reason why I go. Because if I drive Lyft in the morning, that's the only place it's the only drive-through to get breakfast, and there's a Burger King.
Starbucks.
Yeah, but they're too pricey.
Burger King's crap.
McDonald's is like, who had a really good breakfast menu for fast food, and I'm really depressed that they don't do it out here in Colorado. But Wendy's had an awesome freaking breakfast menu. They had chicken biscuits that weren't freaking not like the Chick-fil-A chicken biscuits. Those ones are like, I'm pretty sure
Hardee's does a pretty good breakfast.
I haven't done that yet.
But I mean, that's a dying brand too.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's because they had a great run, like Jack in the Box. Well, Jack in the Box has a pretty awesome breakfast, but you can't feel your left arm after you're done eating it.
Right.
Same thing with Hardee's, really. And both of those things that Hardee's and Jack in the Box shared, they had these great ad campaigns back in the late 90s, 2000s, which basically, like, we're going to target to just depressed fat guys between the ages of 17 and 35. And you know what? They made a lot of money doing that.
It worked.
So it worked. So it was just, God, Jay Moore had that awesome bit about the guy with the creepy voice on the Carl's Jr. Commercials.
Oh, yeah.
Carl's Jr., buy it or I'll touch your children. It was like, what the fuck?
But Carl's Jr., I mean, if you think about it, late 80s, early 90s, they were booming until Hardee's bought them.
Right. Well, the guy,
I guess the main guy died or whatever.
Yeah, he died. I remember because Carl's Jr. was the first one to start the bottomless soda, which back in my day, when I was a kid growing up, the soda fountain was not where the general public can get it. The soda fountains were always behind. They were always behind the counter. Carl's Jr., at least when I was growing up in the high desert, they're like the bottomless soda. You can get as much soda as you like.
Shit.
Yeah,
and
when they started doing that, I was like, whoa. Everybody started going to Carl's Jr. because, like, well, I can get as much soda as I want. Soda's great. I'll get a diet soda. I'll get 44 ounce, no ice of diet soda. That would be great. So they were kind of innovators in that. But, now, like, especially as far as with the obesity. By the way, speaking of obesity, well, this won't go too off the topic. Check out the Joe Rogan Experience when he had Johan Hale as a guest, man. That was some. I listened to that yesterday. It was absolutely fascinating, talking about depression, obesity. There's a lot of other factors that go into it. So, but either way, check that out. But I think as everybody's trying
paid for that spot.
I should. Joe Rogan's like, well, when you ever get listeners, dude, whatever, bro. I'm like, ah, shit, fucking. But I think you have an excellent point there, where as like America was like, hey, we're tired of being fat all the time. We should probably.
Yeah, I mean, we were and we're not all at the same time, because the convenience of, I got to feed the kids. I just got off work. Fuck it, we're going out.
Dude, I was doing an Uber Eats one night.
Uber Eats, there you go. Yeah, they're taking it over.
Right? And one night, and McDonald's, because I show up there, is this for Christina? Great, thanks. And I don't even look at the food. I'm like, this is because they seal the bags, kind of like the restaurant that we know of. So I get there, and she's like, this seems kind of light. Yeah, this isn't what I ordered. And I'm like, okay, that's what they gave me. Well, hold on. And I'm trying to be a good person here because, let's see if we can fix the order, see what's going on so at least she doesn't get charged. But when she says, like, I am trying to feed my kids here, I'm like,
bitch.
Okay, I get that. This is something you do in a pinch, maybe, but for the most part, you're not doing any favors by like, this is so sugary. Like when I do eat fast food now, I know that when I do it, I'm like, listen, if I haven't eaten all day, I need to get some type of protein. There's a chicken sandwich. I know it's not the best, but this is what it's going to have to do. But I know as I'm eating it that I'm like, there's a part of my brain that's going like, oh man, this is really good, and I'm like,
ever chew into the round tumor in the chicken?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, that's the best part. That's where you get all the vitamins. But yeah, but I know that it's not good for me.
Sure.
I mean, I didn't want to get all freaking health conscious, bro, because there's nothing more annoying than a fat guy trying to talk to you about health. I know. But. Like, it was really, really difficult to me. Like, what do you, like, this isn't something you should, I mean, it's like on a Tuesday night. Do you, but I don't know. I don't know her situation.
Right.
I don't know what's going on. Maybe
could have had soccer, teacher meetings, whatever else. By the time you got there, she was fucking, already worked a 12-hour day.
Exactly. And she's got to only getting 4 hours of sleep, and she's got to go back out there again. So, yeah, I don't know what the story was, but it was just weird, that line. She's like, I am trying to feed my children, and I'm like, you're feeding them shit, man. Let's like.
Well, and just because it's convenient doesn't mean it's right.
Right.
You know.
So maybe I don't know. There's. I think Taco Bell. I saw a headline. It was like a clickbaity article. That's why I didn't click on it. But they're like, Taco Bell is now offering the healthiest choices among a lot of the things.
Their beef?
No, because I think what they're saying, because of the taco shells, there's
like lettuce and tomatoes in there,
right? But the quality of their produce has actually gotten better. So, because they got in trouble, I think what was a couple years ago when they were like, "Hey, man, the beef in the 99-cent beef burrito might not be beef," and everybody's like, "What?" And Stephen Colbert had the most awesome. This is when he was doing this. It was
like some soy product or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And he was like, "Oh, by the way," and he does this thing on Taco Bell. He's like, "Oh, I'd like to talk about our new sponsor, Taco Bell." And then he pulls out this big burrito, right? And he takes a bite in, and he was like, beefy, or beefy? There's like a beefy question mark. And he was like, it's 99 cents. I don't know. Where do you think that you can get meat that cheaply? Like,
yeah,
it was kind of hilarious. But even if it's still soy, right, which is, it's
who knows what it is now. And let's face it, our lovely government and the FDA, they're fucktards. I mean, come on, man. Half the things that are good for you, they're like, no, that's bad for you. The other shit that's bad for you, they're like, oh, yeah, go ahead.
Take as much opioids as you want, but kratom is the devil, They're trying to, I think, classify kratom as an opioid now, which it isn't. It's like this weird, it's a plant food and basically from Thailand, but for folks, if you don't know about it, look up kratom. It's if you're trying to wean yourself off of opioids and stuff for pain relief, that is an alternative. So I know you can't buy it in Denver anymore in pill form. Yeah, because the city of Denver passed a law that you can't do it. But if you go down to, I don't know, Centennial, you can buy it there.
Wow, but I mean, fucking, you're still giving fucking methadone to fucking addicts.
Right.
Well, it was free.
The weirdest thing is when we went to go look at it, it's the same store, but one's in Denver, one's in Centennial. Right. Huh. Which, heading west, nice people over there. I'll give them a free plug out there. But when we asked a question, or when Jenny came in and asked because she's been researching online, and it says they might not tell you because it's not supposed to be for personal use is what they put on there. But if you say it's for plant food, you could try to ask other questions and stuff. So she was like, hey, can you tell me about this? And the guy's like, I cannot talk to you about this.
No shit.
Because of the law that was recently passed in Denver. And he's like, I'm really, really sorry. But we have a store that's not in Denver, in Centennial, if you want to go check that out. And we're like, okay, thank you very much. And we went down there and like, yeah, they sent us down here. And they're like, oh, okay, this is what you need.
No
shit.
Stuff.
Yeah, and it was real trippy, but
well, but you gotta figure they've probably, whoever owns that business, the poor one store is hurting, but the other store is gaining 8% in sales because they're sending everybody down there now that it's illegal.
I would think that it was also funny where they had to go classes on how to avoid a sting operation. Like, because there could be somebody who's like, hey, I'm trying to make a name for themselves in politics. It'd be like, well, we're going to bust all these illegal pain relief type things. But it's weird. Like, I was thinking about, like health inspections.
Oh, don't get me started.
Oh, those are fun. What used to get me is that I'm like, all right, there's certain things I know they're probably going to catch me on. All right, like it could be like, hey, did you like move out all the equipment in the kitchen and scrub everything behind it with a toothbrush and your dick? And you're like, no, I didn't. Oh, sorry, that's critical. But the ones that I don't, that I should never get, it would be servers and hand washing. Right, shouldn't be able to get that one. Because the reason why I say is we might have talked about this before.
I got to hear this.
Because I was like, because the rules are, guys, at least in Arizona, I'm not sure about in Colorado, is that anytime, like if you take food from the window and then you deliver it to a table, you're good. If you pick up dirty dishes from bussing a table and take it to the back, you must wash your hands before going back and taking more food from the window. All right? Or let's say you take food from a window and then you go to another table and you pick up change and you make change for them. You must now go wash your hands before you touch food again. Okay? So these are the things that are very, very stringent. And this is one of those things that a health inspector will watch every one of the servers do because it's such an easy thing for people to trip up on. And then if you tell a server these are the rules now, they're going to be like, what? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. What was you were talking about health inspections, and I couldn't hear you about how hard I want you to go fuck yourself, And so what I would always tell the staff is that these are the rules. All right. So when you see the health inspector here, all right, what rules do we follow? These rules. I'm like, right, because I don't want to get dinged on this. This is something that's really simple. Or let's say somebody's taking a drink out of their soda, and they dump it into the wash sink. Well, now that's a critical violation because you're using that sink for something other than washing hands. It could be cross-contamination, and somebody might grow an arm out of their butt or something because of some bacteria.
Yeah.
So stupid little things like that. So those are the ones that I'm like, I know that I can avoid,
Twofold, yeah.
Yeah, unless somebody's going to be a real dick about it, and then we're like, oh, whatever, I don't have to do it.
Oh, man. So it's funny. That is the way it should be.
Right.
That is not the way it is. They all know that's not the way it is.
Right.
And I've been in many counties and states and whatever else, and different health inspections, whatever else. Mm-hmm. They all try to run this high standard, whatever, But let's face it, Manhattan, I've had white glove inspections, depending on the inspector.
Oh, they're brutal out there, man.
And I've had, oh, you're good. No roaches. Have a nice day. Look, Manhattan, roaches, mices. I hate to say it, guys, but they're fucking everywhere.
Oh yeah. Oh no. Every now and then, this is with Nico's. He's like, hey, listen, if someone see a roach or see a mouse, All right, don't freak out about it. Just say, hey, listen, he paid for his meal. Don't worry about him, okay? Because everybody in New York, the person who flips out about seeing a mouse or a roach in a restaurant in New York, obviously hasn't paid attention to anything else that's going on in their life. Because you're in a huge, massive, like little concrete jungle. So, but yeah, there was that, right? I remember I've seen health inspectors go into places and not even announce that they're a health inspector.
Yeah.
And then just walk back and behind the line start checking stuff. So
you're like, who the fuck are you, dude?
Yeah, exactly. So the cooks are going to try to protect because they don't know if that person's there to rob them or something. And then they're like, you're just going to stop. Are you try? And then they pull out their badge.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, because they're when they do that, they're looking for a little something.
Something.
They're looking for a little supplement. You know what I mean? But the worst one that I ever had, the worst health inspection, the head of the entire health department in Phoenix, Arizona, they had lost about 3 or 4 of their inspectors over a period of a couple of months, and they hadn't had a chance to replace him. So he had to go out in the field, the head of the department, and he was going through a horrible, bitter divorce. I know this because I eventually got him to tell me, because when he came in,
teared people up.
Oh, dude, he was chewing the shit out of everybody. He was like, so you took a SurfSafe class. All right, let's see exactly how much that you know. Right. And he would start clearing all this other stuff and be like, no, that's not right. That's not right. That's not right. But I know that I'm like, listen, okay, if I ask enough questions, because he seems kind of like an egotistical dude, I could smell our own, that as soon as I get him to start talking about something that he really knows a lot about, then the happier he's going to be. So I'm like, wait, I thought about this. Well, what about, like, all right, what's the name of this? I'll give you a hint. It's from an 80s, sounds like a popular 80s album. Like, Listeria. And they're like, what? Oh, Def Leppard's Hysteria, man. Come on, dude. That shit's awesome. And he's like, right? You know? And then after that, we were best friends. And then he went easier on the rest of the health inspection. But when they come in guns blazing, you definitely got to know what to do, which is weird when you see somebody who doesn't.
But yeah, it's and health inspectors aren't really something. I mean, I wouldn't want that job going into restaurants. I'd never fucking eat out anymore.
Right.
But I mean,
I know I waited on a couple that used to come into the Mac Shack all the time.
some of the standards that it's funny because where I live, it's different from Denver. You know, it's a hairline thing. It's done by county, state, whatever else. You know, I actually had one manager. I was in Connecticut. This guy's like, health inspector comes in. It was my day off. I wasn't there. He ends up bombing this health inspection.
Ooh.
Because of what he was saying. So the health inspector comes in and says, hey, 40, 140, you know, that temperature-wise. Well, but the FDA does 35 to 130. Theirs is higher. This guy couldn't understand this. He kept quoting FDA standards.
Right.
But every town, every health department out there is higher than FDA standards. And he couldn't fucking get it. I ended up firing the guy the next day. But
he just like, first of all, can you come into my office and pull your pants down? What?
I mean, I was younger than this guy, and I was above this guy. I was franchise consultant at the time,
right.
And he was running one of the corporate stores. You know, he had only been there for a month, whatever else. And this guy, I mean, I'm a little dude. This guy was like 6'4" or some shit like that.
Right.
And he keeps quoting all these FDA things, and I basically broke him down, made him fucking cry, and run out of the store. And I'm just like, have a nice fucking day. You're an idiot. You know?
That's how you work at a restaurant.
But the FDA does 135. Yeah, well, we do 140, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, why don't you go work for the FDA then?
You know? But
why don't you go take your FDA and get the F-U-C-K out of here? All right?
So think about this for everybody out there for the whole hand washing thing.
Yeah.
Say you're at a computer. You have a computer, you have a desk job.
Right.
Right? Every time you hit a key, you got to go wash your hands.
Right.
Better yet, say you're a fucking nurse. Medical. Bacteria everywhere. Kitchens are held to a higher standard than nurses.
Right.
Because half the time they fucking put Purell in their hand.
Right.
There's not a sink to be found.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, the doctor's office, they have the sinks, whatever else. But if you go into a hospital, there's a sink in every room.
Right.
But there's not one at the nurse station. What's the difference? They're hitting keyboards, they're talking to people, they're touching paper, whatever else. And these fuckers don't have to wash their hands every fucking 20 seconds.
Oh, there was actually an issue with that. I remember because I was dating this girl who was a medical assistant for a urologist, and back in Arizona, and she was telling me about this one nurse that didn't wash her hands. Right, and she worked in what's the word with all the babies? The pediatrics or nursery, the newborns and stuff. And she had this bacteria underneath her fingernails. That basically, if she came into contact with any of these kids, those kids would die. Like a couple of kids died from this infection and stuff, right? And I'm like, whoa.
Well, I mean, how many times do you go?
Like, they washed their hands at McDonald's. They're like right across the street from this hospital.
So in our industry, if we change our gloves, we have to wash our hands.
Yeah.
What's funny is most people think, oh, if you're handling food, you have to wear gloves. No, you are absolutely wrong. It's only food, ready to eat, whatever else. But, you know, all these people that believe in that and see that, you know, you go to a doctor's office. I don't know how many times I've been in a hospital, seen somebody take off gloves, and they put Purell on, or they don't wash their hands.
Right.
And, I mean, you're touching bacteria and whatever else. So, let's face it, that's kind of fucked up. Cooks got to do it every time.
Yeah.
Which
is why they don't, by the way.
Yeah.
They only do that when the health inspector's there.
All these fucking people, these guests, these customers that come in and, oh, you got to have gloves on. That's fucking nasty. Yet, they will probably go home, watch Rachel Ray. Bitch never puts on a set of gloves.
Nope.
Emerald, Chopped, all these food shows, none of them are wearing gloves.
Right.
You know, or... You know, the bigger establishments now, I think, are starting to switch, you know, the fine dining sets. So on plating only is where they wear gloves. Because the gloves don't leave fingerprints on the plate. That's the only reason.
That's
Everywhere
weird.
else you go, and the health department's like, oh, wash your hands, you guys sing happy birthday. You're supposed to do it for, what, 130 seconds or something like that, 180 seconds?
Next time a health inspector asks me that, I'm going to tell him I'm a Jehovah's Witness.
I don't think it'll help.
I'll be like, I don't sing that song. What about this? I don't believe it. Maybe that's the wrong religion, but what's the one that doesn't believe in singing?
So, but, I mean, how many hours out of the day? Okay, so say you're working 12 hours out of the day. You got to sing a fucking song. Wash your hands for 130, 180 seconds, something like that.
Then go out to actually sing it for a guest.
Then you got to do your job. But you got to come back because you got to wash your hands because you just picked up somebody's plate. I mean, don't get me wrong. All the germs going around, I wash my hands constantly.
Oh, yeah.
You know, there's some places take it to extremes, whatever else. But, I mean, let's face it. Half the time, like, I'm going to use Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Grandma's in the back cooking.
Right.
How often do you think she washes her hands?
Probably none.
Same with Mom.
She's nasty.
Dad. And then they go out and go, oh, you need gloves on. What the fuck? You need gloves? There you go. New thing. Mandatory law. Everybody has to have gloves in their home.
Oh, yeah. That would be... I remember I was covering the grill. It was at the Nathan's in the food court back at the airport. And... this fella didn't like it's one of those things where I'm like, do I change a glove or not? Because I just was about to, but it was like there's a line going and stuff, and I'm like, I stood there for just a second. He's like, you need to change those gloves. I'm like, doing that right now, sir. And he's like, you better, otherwise I'll have your job. And I was tempted to like
stop. You lick the glove. Here you go, dick.
Like, hold on for a second. Like, what do you do? Like, oh, I'm putting this. I'm putting the spatula in the deep fryer. What's this gonna do? It's gonna burn really badly when I put it on your forehead. Hold on.
Put your hot dog in my glove.
Yeah, exactly.
Here you go.
This is it's kind of weird. This is something I've just been thinking a lot about as far as bullying. I think we touched on it on the last episode, but I keep waiting year after year to see if there's ever going to be a story from somebody who threatens somebody else to get them fired, and that person just decides they don't want to give a shit and just beats the living shit out of that person. I never hear that story on the news. I've seen stories about waiters getting the shit knocked out of them. So I'm curious if those stories are out there.
I've had people swing at me, sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
because they think that you're less than human, that you're a servant, that you're that you're
Everybody
not the
wants
same.
to be a king.
Yeah, exactly. That's like I think we mentioned this. It was like a couple episodes ago. I'm like, you're supposed to treat the guests like royalty, but guests, you're not supposed to act like royalty. Okay,
Ain't that the damn truth?
there's a big difference. There's a reason why. People give a lot of shit to the French, but I always say that they're the one civilization that knows how to treat their upper class. They killed all of them. There's more of them now, but I mean, they didn't publicly and like, hey, we're going to cut everybody's heads off and shit, which kind of led to one of our revolutions. So but the whole idea the point is I almost committed murder once again while on the Flat Top Grill back at the airport, which is the reason why I don't have that job anymore. But what are you supposed to do when somebody? I remember I actually stood up for one of my employees. Standing up for an employee you like is very, very easy. Standing up for an employee that you really don't like,
it's very hard.
Ooh, that's very, very difficult. I had a bartender that she had been at that place for years and years and years. She was a good person, but I didn't like working with her. Nobody else liked working with her, but she's been there for like 17 years, 15, 17 years. She's been there basically ever since she was able to bartend. Nice. She's been working at the airport, and she's like in her mid-40s at this point now, right? So it's been quite a while. But she gave no shits about anything. So this one guy was like, she refused to serve him or whatever. He didn't get to her fast enough, and he was getting real, we ID everybody there.
Right.
He gave her shit about that, and she's like, well, okay, I don't feel comfortable serving you then. He's like, where's your manager? I'm like, I'm right here. And he's like, who the fuck is she not to serve me? I'm like, she doesn't feel comfortable serving you. You have to go have a nice day. He's like, you know what? This was my restaurant, and I guess he was a restaurant owner from L.A. He's like, you would have been fired. And I'm like, well, good thing you're not. All right, have a nice day. Bye. And it was one of those things where...
What a douche. I mean,
yeah. But he was immediately going to try to go, I mean, I'm going to go this one route. I'm going to get this girl in trouble. Once he found out that there was nothing he was going to say that was going to make... I wasn't going to reprimand her. But it was bizarre. Have you ever had a point where you're like, oh, shit, I don't have to stick up for this guy? But
I've definitely had it happen. But, I mean, this was years ago. Now, if you tell somebody in the airport, hey, I'm not serving you, and they argue, what's the next thing happens?
They get 86'd.
They get 86 out of the airport.
Yeah. So
I mean, fucking Homeland Security shows up and goes, look, they told you no. You told them fuck off. Let's go. You're not getting on your plane.
The trick is to get
Which is wild because... You're not driving anywhere. And half the time, you're on the fucking plane for at least 2 hours. Right. So who cares if you're drunk?
Oh, they do.
Oh, I know. But, I mean, they got barf bags at every seat. Oh, who gives a fuck?
Trust me, the Southwest was like, we got to lock this asshole in an aluminum tube for the next 4 hours. We got to deal with it.
But, I mean, how many videos are out there now where these people are getting kicked out of the airport? Well, I got a flight. I'm going to carry you. Too fucking drunk. You're not going nowhere.
Yeah. Oh,
So now, for somebody to do that, especially in that scenario or that situation, dude, just keep talking, man.
Yeah.
You're going to get a ticket. You're going to get kicked out of the airport. You're going to fucking lose your flight that you paid for already. It's probably non-refundable, like they are half the time now.
Right.
And your luggage is going to see you in a fucking week.
Oh, dude. The best part was there was this one guy who was, I guess he was a blogger or a writer for some... magazine in San Francisco. I wish I could remember which one. I wish I could remember the dude's name, but this was so long ago. But he was really pissed off because we couldn't serve any booze before 8 a.m.
Right.
On a Sunday. It was like this weird blue law that was still in Phoenix. Sure. So I'm like, sorry, we can't serve booze until we can do breakfast for you. We can get you coffee or something like that, but we can't do any booze. He's like, well, I can't fly unless I have vodka. I'm like, okay, sorry. I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do? I'm like, I don't know. I can get you breakfast. We could do that. He's like, what's your name? I'm like, it's Dave, Jermaine. I'm like, yeah, you're going to be famous. I'm like, hey, thanks. But but he was like, I'm going to write you guys such a scathing review. So we're all like, ooh. The only thing I think you could do now, guys, if I can give any advice to anybody who has to deal with that situation, try to mock them as much as you possibly can. So that way, when you actually have to write out a report, they have to read it in the court case. We're like, and then he went with the fingers, And that's when he took out a bottle and started assaulting the staff.
But that goes with the last cast too. I mean,
Yeah.
that's part of, once they threaten, that crosses the line. It's over. The service is over. Your whatever relationship that's there is done and over with. So,
do you ever think there's a correlation between like business owners who are willing to put up with that and people who are willing to stay in an abusive relationship with a spouse?
Absolutely.
I think so too. I think
Absolutely. And you want to be successful, but I mean, there's a line in everything. A lot of people don't realize that. That's why so many places get branded, oh yeah, they'll give you the world. Eventually, the owner or the manager is going to go fucking postal.
Yeah. They'll just flip the whole game board over and be like, screw you guys. Yeah, it's...
There's only so much shit we as human beings can take anyway. And yes, some people can take more or whatever else. But if you're going to get screamed at every day, whether abusive or, later on in life, eventually you're going to fucking snap.
Yeah. So you might as well be an adult and try to, fix that issue before it gets to there. But,
I mean, if you're going to be a human being, have a set of balls, know what your limits are, know what you can do to please somebody. But, I mean, we said it in the last one. As soon as they threaten, all cards are off the table. It's over. You need to pay and leave.
Yep.
Have a nice day.
If you could work in the phrase, give me my money, that always helps too.
Taunting them, though.
You got to be really funny at it, though.
Dave's not always right.
What? Like, one of these days, what I wanted to do, this is just in the back of my mind, if I could ever find a way to actually work this. First of all, I would have to actually own a restaurant, all right? And then be managing it at a time, and then have a really, really upset guest, but doesn't know that I'm the owner, right? So that's the perfect scenario. And then I'm like, no, I'm just clowning on him, and he's like, all right, I want to talk to the manager, and I'll be like, okay. And then I'll turn around and be like, hello, I'm the manager. How can I help you? Well, there's somebody else I could talk to. I'm like, the owner's in the back. You want me to get him? I'm like, yeah, I want to talk to the owner. You're not going to have a job. I'm like, all right. So then I would go in the back, and I would put on a monocle, a top hat, and a fake mustache. And then I would come back out and be like, hello, I'm the owner.
So what you need...
Sorry, that just really tickles me when I think about it.
Is come up with the restaurant called, I don't know, Clown Faces or something,
yeah, exactly.
Right? Every time somebody says, I want to speak to a manager, you walk out with a fucking whipped cream pie and just...
Walk read the menu, bitch.
Squeak your horn and just waddle away.
They would be like, I was looking at your menu. You got some great appetizers. How come it says that I give up of my right to sue for an assault? I'm like, what? Hey, listen, man. Our chicken fingers are really good. Like, really, really good.
Just come out in some big clown feet, a fucking pie, and a hunky nose, and
exactly.
Walk back in the kitchen.
My cousin always had this thing where he wanted to act like a tough guy, but with a clown nose. What, do you think I'm funny? Well, but, I don't know.
Tell him to pull down his pants.
Yeah, exactly. You can squeeze that makes a noise too. You know what? This is the first time we haven't ended a show on something really negative, so I think this is probably
okay.
This is a good way. This is exactly. If you guys could think of any other ways that you could really burn a customer in the most cosmic, epic way possible, please let us know. Email us at thedfbpod@gmail.com. Follow us at dfbpod on Twitter. And for more audio of past episodes, go to dfbpod.com.
Yeah, like, share, let your friends know.
Exactly.
We're here for them. And you. No.
Shit Servers say on Twitter they're a pretty good resource for a restaurant industry. Bitchy Waiter, that's another one that I've been following. Yeah, I've been following a couple of these guys. So thanks for occasionally I get a like or a retweet. So,
nice.
Hey, thanks.
Hey, right on.
A little plug there for that. So clocking out for the DisJointed Food Biz, I'm Dave Germain.
Thor Markey.
Have a great week, guys.